And we're live on match day as Doug reaches for a buffalo wing. He's got it! Oh, and he's gone for a can of Pepsi too! What a finish! There's no doubt about it. It just tastes better. Match days deserve Pepsi.
Listen, all you New Yorkers. Taxi!
Okay, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
J.D. Vance, our quite young vice president, only 41 years old. When you have a beard, you tend to look a little older, I think. But just amazing that this guy has a runway, if we're using modern precedent of Biden than Trump, of 40 years. It can still be president. Let's see, what year? In 2066. Think about that. At 80, who knows what J.D. Vance will be doing? But he's on a book tour now. And look, the guy has balls. There's no other way to put it. The big brass kind. Because most conservatives will avoid going on a place like The View because it's not an honest conversation. They're all there for the soundbite. It's kind of like those hearings that we see on Capitol Hill where Democrats will read off of notes and use all of their time to lecture the person that they're supposed to be questioning on the Republican side instead of actually trying to get to the truth, actually asking questions and listening to the answers and maybe coming to some sort of compromise or middle ground. No. It's the same thing with The View. If you watch these clips that I'm about to play, all of them are reading from note cards that their producers, ever since they announced that JD would be on the show last Thursday, the Oppo research, so to speak, has been in full gear at ABC News. And again, this is an ABC News program. And it didn't go well for the ladies. And I put that in scare quotes because ladies implies class, and certainly very little of it exists there. Let's give you one example. Before the vice president came on, here's Joy Behar talking about the World Cup. And then Joy, I believe, is 83 years old and then decides to touch her breasts and then says, I'll show you a World Cup right here, which if you don't want to see this and you probably want to get this visual out of your mind, but I'm playing it anyway because we're all about shock value here. And cut number 11, go.
Then there was the World Cup, which also still going on. I'll show you the World Cup.
No, don't show us. Don't do it. Thank God this is broadcast television. All right, Kev, we're good. We're so good on that one. Okay. So anyway, that was the setup before the vice president of the United States came out. And, you know, Vance is funny because the guy, he did this with Tim Walz during the vice presidential debate. And he did it again here. He walks out first and says, hey, this show is full MAGA, right? This is like a very Republican kind of show where a guy like me is going to be very comfortable. And they didn't know what to do with that. And then they commented on how tall he was, and they didn't expect that. And he's all smiles and thank you. They wanted a food fight, and J.D. Vance would not give it to them. And as I predicted, he looked like the adult in the room, the statesman, and they came across as a bunch of jackals. There's no other way to put it. Here in cut number 14, speaking of jackals, they, again, accused the Trump administration. This is Sonny Hostin saying that literally the Trump administration is trying to erase black history, and JD just was not having it in a very charming way. Cut number 14, go.
Your question,
That's
but let me answer your actual question there. What I'm saying, I think, okay, look at Washington, D.C., one of the most democratic and one of the blackest, by share of population, blackest cities in the United States of America, has seen a radical decrease in violent crimes and sexual assaults and in murders. We have tried to take the crime issue seriously, in part because we believe everybody, whether you're black or white or rich or poor, deserves to live in a safe neighborhood.
Why does the crime? Where does the crime step in? This is not about crime. This is about
women lost their jobs.
Rights. This is about human
Sonny,
rights.
What you're saying is
Black
we got to do more on the economy.
And black history has been erased from public spaces.
Black history is not erased from public spaces.
We do have to get to Iran when we get back. There's some very important news
I'm telling you, we celebrate black history. We celebrate all American history in this administration. You guys might be skeptical of this, but I promise you it's true.
I mean, listen to that. How rude is that? Honestly, that's the vice president who came to your show. And they're all, it's Whoopi, then it's Sonny, then Ana Navarro, all yelling at the guy and they can't back up anything. How is the Trump administration erasing black history? JD asked. And No one had an answer for that. They just throw this crap out there. And by the way, the reason why the vice president brought up crime being significantly down in D.C., one of the blackest cities in the country, is because it's now safer for everyone, especially blacks. In a city where the murder rate was through the roof, carjackings, you didn't want to go out at night in the nation's capital. And Trump put in the National Guard and cleaned up that city. By the way, the objection of everybody on The View and every Democrat out there who looks right now. So that's what Vance was saying, that everybody deserves to want to live to be in a safe neighborhood. And by the way, it doesn't matter what color you are. See, that's how Sonny Hostin, Whoopi Goldberg, that's the prism they see everything through. And the fact that Whoopi can't understand why crime is relevant to a conversation in terms of the Trump administration doing very good things for the black community, for the Indian community, Asian community, white community, Latino community. You make everywhere safe, that everybody benefits. And it doesn't have to be about color, but about human beings. So great job by the vice president there. Then, this is interesting. Joy Behar tries to, again, the way Trump is misquoted, and then it just goes through the media like wildfire. If you're using a blowtorch on dry grass, Trump never said that he thinks the affordability crisis is a hoax. This is what Joy Behar tries to pin down Vance with. And again, the guy is unflappable. And cut number 13, go.
Okay. So President Trump has called affordability a hoax. He said that, not me. He's pouring money into this ballroom of his and the reflecting pool. Oh, don't forget the Arch de Trump, I call it. And a White House cage match. All these things.
Whoa.
Why is he doing them when you just, everybody knows that Americans are struggling? What is he spending all this money for?
Well, I got to defend the president on the hoax point. What the president said is the idea that Republicans caused the affordability problem is a hoax. And I think that's true. If you go back to the Biden administration, inflation got up to 9% under the Biden administration. Okay. Right now it's at 3.5%. By the way, too high. We're doing everything that we can to bring it back down to 2.5%, which is where most people would like to see it. But we inherited an affordability problem. We're doing a lot to make it better. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's a lot more work to do. But the president knows that a lot of Americans are struggling. In fact, he ran on that. He talked about it. And we've done some things and made some good progress on that point.
He just said he loves the inflation.
What he said, Anna, what he said is that he loves the fact that the inflation is going to come down when this war is over. That's what he said.
Yes, that's not what he said. Why would Trump say he loves inflation? He's going to love the fact that it's going to come down now that the war is over, and it is over. And you're going to see, again, these people defended Biden when inflation was above 9%. Now it's at 3.5%, and they're talking about affordability. It's so phony.